So I want to speak a little bit just about really around communication and the importance of being able to not only honor your truth and speak your truth, but also at the same time being able to be with different emotions and why all emotions can be seen as beautiful. Um, it's interesting over this past, I would say over the past week and a half in general, I've had more conversations than usual around what's the best way to put this around maybe there being discord, whether it be in relationships, whether it be in friendships, whether it be in others' professions. And I've recognized this theme that continues to keep coming up. So ultimately, that's what has led me to desiring to put this video together. So, one of the biggest aspects that I recognize in my own experience, as far as communication goes, is just how intentional and how necessary it is to be very in tune with what one is creating from their language. And not only the language that we verbalize, but also the language of which that we're thinking within our minds. And I mention this simply because, you know, whether we're in relationships, whether we have different business partners or different individuals on a professional level of whom we are in constant dialogue with, or even as I mentioned before, in friendships, when we are not only being around other people in the present moment, but when we're away from those people, when we're creating story and creating dialogue, we're constantly doing this. And as we're constantly doing this, we're creating our experience and our relationship with other people, whether or not they're here in front of us physically or not. And I bring this up because unless there is a certain level of being able to connect and being able to create a conversation with another person where there may be some discord or there may be something that is, for lack of better terms, energetically in the field that doesn't necessarily feel as resonant or feel as aligned, then more times than not, what is being created is either there being a sense of suppression or there being a sense of underlying discord that can lead to resentment if there isn't a certain outlet or a certain ability to communicate one's deepest feelings. And I want to be clear on this too. There's a difference between communicating one's feelings from a place of love and from a place of depth and understanding, as opposed to communicating one's feelings from a place of blame and from a place of desiring to do harm to another. And one of the areas that I know in my own experience that has been a very humbling experience, I'll be honest, is just how sensitive communication can be or can feel within my own experience. And what I mean by that is I'm at this point in my life where if something doesn't feel like it's true or it's really If it feels like it's creating some sense of disharmony or some sense of offness in my body, if I feel a conversation or some type of communication is necessary in order to be able to create a deeper sense of understanding with another person, um, then it's something that I recognize that, you know, I'm not going to say I have to do, but it's something that I don't shy away from anymore. And I mention that because for most of my life, I was this suppression artist, you know, this very sometimes maybe stoic or just everything is okay, you know. If I say this, that may disturb the other person's peace, so I want to keep everything peace and tranquil and on the up and up. And it's interesting because throughout my own life, I see the necessity. You know, I've never really spoken about legacy. You know, I've never really shared this before, but I have this sense or this thought that, you know, both of my parents rest in spirit. I've learned so much from them, and I feel like the legacy that I was left from both of them are very similar. With my pops, you know, he was someone who he transitioned over to spirit when I was 12 years old, so just a month after my 12th birthday. And before that, while I loved my pops and I appreciate all the time that we spent, you know, sometimes there were certain gaps between that time and sometimes I actually did live with him, but there was this certain level of I would say there being kind of this block or this wall between us. And what I mean by that is this inability for us to really intimately connect. And I didn't understand that then, but obviously years removed from that and recognizing the importance of being able to not only express and communicate different feelings, but on the flip side, being able to be in a safe space where whatever feelings that you are communicating are okay. You know, whether it be sadness, whether it be anger, whether it be, you know, shame, any of these aspects. And those were just not conversations or opportunities that were created for me within my actual experience in the 12 years of our particular dynamic. And flip that over to my mother's side as someone who I know my mother had a lot to say. You know, she was an avid reader. She's one of the what's the biggest champions for me to begin reading, and used to always kind of be in my ear, like, read this book, read that book. I think you would love reading. You should read more. And you know, my earlier years of life, I had absolutely zero interest in reading or kind of taking in information outside of what was necessary for me to do my schoolwork. But you know, she had this love for writing. She had this love, and she actually started writing a book. You know, and had the first draft of the book complete. And you know, the book was really kind of a memoir style of certain experiences that she had learned and had been a part of within her own life. And there was a certain level of fear, and I know this because we had conversations about it before she passed, a certain level of fear around putting that out into the world, around sharing her authentic truth because of how others may perceive her, whether it be family, whether it be certain friends, And I think maybe some of that was a little bit of internal fear as well of just fully exposing certain intimate and vulnerable aspects of her life out into the world. And I bring that up and I kind of bring this back to the legacy piece because on a legacy level, I feel that that's what I've been left or I've been adorned with in terms of um, being very in tune with, and that is communication, and that is authentically expressing not only myself, but my truth, being able to see that and assist and support others on the path of expressing, what's true, what's really deep inside of the heart, or when we actually slow down the mind and we actually listen to ourselves and we open our hearts and feel into what's real, being able to bring that to the front. And to kind of go back to what I mentioned at the very beginning, I'm seeing and sensing, in my experience, and again, these are certain dialogues or conversations that I've recently been having. There's just so much like holding back, so much, I want to say this, or I want to be this, or I feel this way, but there can be this holding back on saying it. And I just want to say, if you can resonate with this within your own life, to just know that if something is coming from a place that's deep inside of your heart that desires to be expressed, there's a reason for it. If something keeps bubbling up or coming up with inside of your experience, almost like man, like this just keeps on showing up, consistently, just keeps on kind of appearing, there's a reason for it. And we're each here on this planet to not only to connect with others, but to also channel. And again, maybe this is my perception, to channel an energy or some type of purpose or some type of meaning of which that only us, only our individual selves can really bring forth, whether it be from our experience, whether it be from the specific message, whether it be from the tone of our voices, whether it be from just how we show up in the world. We all have this innate power and this ability to really change the lives of others through us as we continue to change our own lives within ourselves. And I invite you to just go inward and look at thine self and just say, like, man, what is it that I would love to really say, to really express, to really be? How would that show up? How would that feel? How would that create more expansion and more space within my life so that I can ultimately take the next step forward and create even more room and capacity to express more and more and more of why I'm here on this planet, of what it is that I'm meant to bring forth into the world, and how it is that I can affect or support or assist others within their lives just through the lens or the mirror of me, or of I being the change in which I desire to see within the world. So that's all I got for now, but much love and much peace and much bliss to you on this very beautiful day. Peace.